Yo guys, what is happening? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Omar. Guys, it is officially lockdown here in the UK and I'm pretty sure all over the world, which means you are all stuck at home surviving off of pasta and tomato sauce, which I know is taking its toll. So today I'm going to be showing you all how to make something quite easy, something that involves canned foods, more specifically chickpeas. So this is suitable for vegetarians, vegans, and also meat eaters. I'm not sure what the specific name for this dish is in Hindi, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna call it chickpea curry. It is delicious, it is so good, and it's quite easy to make as well. So let's get to it. So first round of business, everyone. We have 2 red onions here, we have 4 garlics, and we have 2 tomatoes, and they have all been chopped. Now I'm making 2 chickpeas, so this will be enough for 2 people for the next like 4 days, or if I'm super hungry it'll last me just today. But yeah, we're making basically enough for 2 people for a few days, so that's why I'm doubling everything. So we've got, like I said, 2 red onions, we have 4 cloves of garlic, and we have 2 diced tomatoes. So these are like the only raw ingredients we're going to be using. Everything else is pretty much powdered. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by frying all of this first. So I've got a pot here with some oil. It's been heating up for, I'd say, maybe 5 minutes now on like a 6. I've got an electrical cooker, so that's kind of like pretty much just like slightly medium high. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by frying all of this first. Yep, it's nice and hot now. So we're going to start by frying the onions, tomatoes, and garlic first. Going to give that a nice stir. And basically, we want to just release a lot of that flavor before adding in all the powders and stuff. But you don't want to fry it too long. I would say maybe just like a minute or 2, just to get it nice and warmed up. That smells really, really good. All right, so what we're gonna do now, guys, is we're gonna start adding the powdered product. So I've got a bit of hot curry powder here, so we're gonna add, I'd say maybe just like 1 teaspoon in there, maybe 1.5. Next up, we have some ginger. I prefer using like actual proper ginger, but I don't have any, so we'll go for one teaspoon of ginger as well, maybe 1.5. Yeah, we'll go for 1.5. We have red chili powder here. I'm gonna go for, I'd probably say like half a teaspoon or just like 1 teaspoon. I don't want to go too crazy with this. I'm gonna go for like a nice teaspoon of turmeric, because it's quite healthy for you and just adds like a nice color. Maybe go for a tiny bit more. And then we're gonna go for 2.5 teaspoons of Madras spice paste. 1, 2, and a half. And now we're just gonna mix all that together. Oh, the smell is amazing. And now that's pretty much become, look at that, that's become like a really nice paste from adding all that stuff in there. So we're gonna turn up the heat a little bit to maybe like a 7.5 or an 8. And we're just gonna start stirring. That smells really, really good. So if you feel like it's drying up a bit, add a bit of water so that it doesn't get stuck to the bottom. I don't like to add too much oil because I want to try and make this as healthy as possible. And oil isn't the most healthiest thing, so a bit of water does the trick. Like, look at that now. That's helped quite a lot. So we're just gonna stir that and make sure nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot, not pan, my bad. That's looking amazing. And you just want to try and get, you'll find some stuff like here on the side, so try and get that all into the pot. And we're gonna bring that down to like a 5, and we're just gonna let that cook away nice and slow for the next, I would say maybe 5 to 6, 7 minutes maybe, because you don't want to cook it too much just yet. So we've had this cooking for a good, I'd say maybe 5 to 6, 7 minutes now. So we're gonna turn that off, and we're gonna move on to the next bit now. So now we're gonna open up these 2 cans of chickpeas, and these are actually cheap cans. They're about 30p a can, so it doesn't really matter if you get the expensive one or the cheap ones. They all taste the same to me. So now what you want to do is you want to get rid of the water that's in here. I call it dog juice water because it just smells like dog food. And you're going to want to replace it with just clean water and let the chickpeas soak in the water for a few minutes. So you should get a little something like this. So that is just plain water. There's a bit of fizz around it from obviously the dirt of the chickpeas, but you're going to let that soak for, I would say, maybe the next 5 to 10 minutes maybe. The longer you keep it in, the more it gets cleaned up. So I don't do this as much as I used to, but you're basically gonna get one of these, whatever they're called. Honestly, I don't know, I just call it a crusher. And you're gonna wanna just crush everything that you have in here. The more crushed, the better, especially with the garlic. I actually don't mind having the onions in there not being crushed, but what I don't like is just biting into the curry and then you bite into this like big clump of garlic. So we're gonna just mash it. I would do this until your arm gets like super sore, so maybe for a good minute or 2, and whenever you see like a clump of garlic, just crush it. The more crushed, the better. And so I've done that for maybe like a minute or 2. I didn't do it too long, and we pretty much mashed up everything, so I think that's good to go. So we're gonna turn the heat on to like a 6. We're gonna wait for it to just roast. So once you hear it sizzling, then you'll be able to add your chickpeas. So I've drained my chickpeas now. I've left a bit of water in this one, maybe about up to, I'd say here. And then the other one is just completely drained because we don't want too much water to go in there because the masala itself is already like watery enough. So we're just gonna add a bit more water so that it's not too dry. So we can hear it sizzling. It's sizzling nicely, so I'm gonna bring that to a 7. We're gonna add the chickpeas. Perfect. Maybe I should have added a bit more water, but for now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix all that masala with the chickpeas, and you want it to just coat actually no, that's perfect. That's enough water in there. You don't want it to be too watery like I said. But yeah, so you want to just coat that masala very nicely. Sorry, you want to coat the chickpeas nicely with the masala. And now you're gonna be roasting this, I would say, for a good maybe half an hour. So this is probably the longest process of the entire meal, is actually just roasting these, letting them cook with the masala. And you want the chickpeas to be slightly softer than what they are already. Now that we have this roasting quite nicely, this is how we want it to be. So I've got the heat on a 7, and we're just letting that cook away very nicely. It's thickening up quite a lot. We're going to be adding the last 3 ingredients to this dish. So I'm going to go for a nice teaspoon of salt. I don't like to salt my foods too much just because if you over salt it, you mess the meal. So I'd rather salt it enough where, if I need to salt it later, then that's fine, I can do that. Then we're gonna get some black pepper, not too much, maybe just like half a teaspoon, maybe even less than that, I think that's fine. And then finally, some coriander. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna have to charge that up or change the battery. You're just gonna sprinkle it. Honestly, I like a lot of coriander in my meals, so I don't mind making too much. And don't worry, I have washed my hands multiple times. And you're gonna mix that very nicely. And now we're gonna have this cook for like a really good 20 minutes, man. So we've come to the last 5 minutes of cooking. It's really, really good, but it's a little bit, it's kind of getting a bit dry now, which is what's gonna happen. So all we're gonna do is just add a tiny bit of water. When you start feeling like it's getting too dry, just add a bit of water to it to let it just kind of, to just water it down a bit more. If you find that it's too watery, cook it for a bit longer and it's gonna thicken up. So yeah, I've just been slowly adding slight bits of water every time it gets too dry, and it fixes it all up. Don't mind that, I'm making some rice as well with this dish. But yeah, that's looking fantastic. So we've got 5 more minutes, and then hopefully this should be done. It is the moment of truth. Let's taste this. Mmm! 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 That is the best I've ever made it in my entire life. The chickpeas, they just like melt in your mouth. That is cooked perfectly. Salt, spice, flavor, consistency of the chickpeas, the thickness, it is perfect. Oh, that is so good. Oh, I'm actually so happy. That is honestly the best I've ever made it. Right, we're gonna serve this up really nicely. I'm gonna show you how to eat this dish because there's a specific way you have to eat it, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I did go for a shower. Look at that. Beautiful. You have your chickpeas there. You got beautiful fluffy white rice. And then guys, the secret ingredient, some yogurt, just some Greek yogurt. I didn't bother making a raita today, but yogurt with any curry, it's like the best side dish you can have. It's just like the spiciness of the curry, right, goes so well with just like the chillness of the yogurt. You mix those two together, it's an unbeatable combination. But here you go, this is how you eat a chickpea curry. White rice, some beautiful yogurt. If you want to make a raita, that is absolutely fine. This is all the 3 things that you need in one plate for this dish. So good, so good. So give it a shot, guys. Try it out. Let me know how it is. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, it smells so good.